Good morning, aloha, kakahiaka, everyone. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Peter K, and you are here with us on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Welcome, everyone. Today's the 15th of September. If you are watching this after the fact, there will be channels. We put the chapter markers on the bottom of the video. You can go ahead and kind of find your way through. Let's give you a really quick lineup of what we got for today. So I hope it's going to be an interesting show. We got our normal news and market updates, and you're not going to want to miss this, but I found the microwave space satellites that were rumored to start the fires in Maui. This is a big thing that was going on in social media, that the Maui fires were started by microwave space satellites. I have found it. You might be disappointed, but you'll have to find out. And of course, we're going to be taking your questions. We got diamonds and deals, some really good properties that you want to see. The most important things will be your questions. I'm going to end with some motivational thoughts. So why don't we do this? Let's warm up the microphones over here. Get my friends involved. Let's there we go. The warm up slide. All right, we're going to get our friends involved over here. Warm up the microphones as we kind of the real show starts in a few minutes, and you could fast forward if you want if it's not live. But if it is live, let's talk to Dylan. We have Dylan Nonaka, who's from the Big Island, and we have Ashliey Wasson, who's from Oahu. Let's warm up over here. Dylan, what's going on, buddy? What's the shirt, the traditional Hawaiian, the traditional Aloha shirt that Dylan's wearing? I want to see it.
This is modern Hawaiian or Hawaii fashion, I guess. This is manaola, but it's it's like a kind of a rayon material, so you don't have to iron it. It comes right out of the dryer, perfect and ready to go. It's a lot lighter for the hot, humid days. So it's pretty cool, right? It's got like I don't know what the design is. It's like sunburst.
You're silent, man.
So
You're silent.
It looks good. I like it. But the big news is that this is the last time you're going to see me with this background, because we are moving offices today and tomorrow, and so I'm going to be relocating to another space inside of our complex, a little bit bigger space, but I'm going to have to rework my background. So it's probably time for a fresh upgrade on the background. So last time.
All right, man. All right. I'm looking forward to seeing what the new Dylan studio is going to look like. And on that RAN, I got to tell you, I'm really partial to the RAN because, as guys, we only go shopping once every decade or so, right? Probably, right? I was looking at some shirts. I actually got some shirts that I still wear that I literally wore 20 years ago. And it's like, yes, it's like, it's good. I don't need to, So the RAN is awesome because, you don't have to iron it, or anything like that. So anyway, Ashliey, give us how are you doing over there? What's going on your side of the island? You're on the windward side. We've got kind of some mixed bag, kind of warm and yet wet weather. But anyway, Ashliey, what's going on with you? We have to come up with like a signature for you. Like Heidi. Oh, by the way, gang, Heidi is now with us for today. She's spending some time with famfamily. A well-deserved break. I can't again imagine what's going on over there in Maui. So Heidi, we are with you. Enjoy yourself. Please rejuvenate. But Heidi has got the coffee. Dylan's got the shirt. Maybe it's the earrings, Ashliey. I don't know. We have to come up with something that Ashley's going to bring to the. I don't know what that is. Anyway, what's going on, Ashliey?
It was rainy, like you said, on the windward side, but we're going camping today. We didn't get to go during summer break, so I promised my daughter we would go, and this is when we could get the particular campground that we're going to. It books out within like 15 seconds flat, so you have to go onto the state website, and 2 weeks beforehand is when they open up the campsite registrations. And so we all timed it. We set the timer on our phone, and we booked the campsites that we wanted. And we got it. So we're going this weekend. So after the show, we're going to pack up and we're going to get going over there, and hopefully it stays sunny.
How fun is that? Maybe on our next show, I'm going to ask you what the campsite was, because if we do it now, millions of people will line up to see Ashliey and family walking in. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to overload the campsite. Yeah, we don't want to overlook the campsite with the scores and scores of fans who are there. Hey, gang, look, if you just joined us, it's really great to have you here with us. Thanks, Auntie Joan. Heidi is not joining us for today. She is taking a break, a well-deserved break. I can't even imagine what a well-deserved break that she's taking, but I am glad that she's taking a break. So thanks for asking about her. I will make sure I let her know that Auntie Joan asked about Heidi. I'm sure she'll really appreciate that. And Dwayne's with us. Hey, Dwayne, how's it, buddy? Good to see you. Glad that you are back with us. You're coming in through Dylan's channel. Of course, everyone's welcome. Hey, gang, if you got any questions, make sure you pop them in the comments, or if you have some comments, let us know where you're from. It's always kind of fun to see where people are from. Let us know if is this the first time that you're here? Are you coming back? Give us a quick shout out. All right, why don't we do this? Let's move on. I got a news update over here for everybody. Let's talk about the things that I bring up. So interestingly, So Dylan, I want to hear about this when we come back around to you. The Kilauea volcano has reactivated once again. So that's kind of cool. So Kilauea is up. But I also heard that the Vog is back on the Kona site. So Dylan, I definitely want to get give us the lava update. The lava update again. Home prices. The market looks like it's kind of flat, according to what I'm hearing. Ashley, I want to hear, and Dylan, I want to hear from your guys' perspective. Of course, sales of previously owned homes on Oahu haven't changed much. They've kind of stayed the same. It says that the article says remain depressed. I don't know what that means exactly, but it seems kind of flat. Kauai also, Kauai sales are down. We don't have a Kauai rep. We need to get a Kauai person in here one of these days, Dylan. But so it seemed that the market is kind of flat. And then, interestingly enough, I discovered some. Let me see here. I need to get the. Okay, so we had some findings from. There you go. We looked into. And we found that, guess what? We had a dry August. Yeah, hello. Everyone knows we had a dry August, but it was confirmed by scientists. So now we know it's true. So we had a dry August. Hilo was arid. They only had 5.35 inches of rain in August, half of their norm of 11 inches. Kauai was down. So they basically told us what everybody knew, which was this was a dry August. Unfortunately, incredibly tragically, it also, of course, affected Maui in the most incredibly horrible way. But we all know it was a dry August. So there's a ton of stories going on for Maui, a ton of stories, lawsuits. Really, I'm just going to go through headlines really, really fast. There's lawsuits. The lawsuits are coming in now. So first of all, they have no time. They have not given a timetable for when they were going to find the actual cause of the Lahaina fire. The cause science, but they're still looking. And the Maui landowners are getting sued now. So Maui landowners are getting sued if they because they poorly managed brush on their property that led to flames. They're getting sued. Of course, regulators are looking at suing Hawaiian Electric over their fires. The Hawaiian Electric board is being accused of skimping on safety. They're going to get sued. But don't worry, everyone. Don't worry, because all of the lawsuits that Hawaiian Electric is going to get hit with are going to get passed on to us in higher rates. So don't worry, we will all pay for the Hawaiian Electric lawsuits. The economy, gang, Maui's economy is getting hit. They're looking at a $1.9 billion hit, $1.9 billion hit through 2024. That's from the Department of Economic and Business Development. The money is coming in. Interestingly enough, though, but they're not exact. I'm not sure about this article. For example, the Hawaii Community Foundation Maui Strong Fund, one of the funds that we recommended and that everyone else has recommended, a reputable organization. They have $110 million. $110 million, but they've given out $19 million to nonprofits. So I don't know if that means that they haven't spent the remaining $100 million or so, but there's a $494 million in relief funds going to Maui and all kinds of government assistance, private donation, and nonprofit associations. So the money is there. The money is there. $95 billion in federal aid is coming for Maui fire relief. But there is controversy on reopening. So they're looking at, I saw this article, West Maui may reopen into tourism on October 8th. That's going to be one of the things I want to talk about with the team today. Unfortunately, Heidi won't be here, but I want to kind of hear about what everyone thinks about that. So, West Maui businesses may be able to tap into a big grant. Some people are saying, don't come to Maui. Others are saying, please, you need to come to Maui because Maui's economy is taking a really, really, really big hit. Some Lahaina stores are opening, but we're not anywhere near any kind of a significant recovery. Lots of concerns about the West Maui opening. So, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of controversy. There's a long road to recovery. Hopefully, there's some articles I'm catching which would make sense that they're looking at hiring local businesses to do the cleanup. That would make the most amount of sense, right? People are out of jobs, people are out of work. What better thing to offer to folks to help rebuild their community, which I would think is where you'd want to go. And then finally, on the microwave beam. So there's a lot of stuff. One of the many conspiracy theories flying around on the internet was that there was the fires were caused by satellites with microwave beams that were trying to torch Lahaina. And when I first thought about that, this is what came to my mind when I first thought about that.
I have one simple request, and that is to have sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads.
Sorry, I couldn't help that. But anyway, so here's what's come out of that. Apparently, what people are, what's coming out now from some of the major players, like the major technology companies that are combing through social media, is one group says that it's a Russia thing. It's a Russia thing, which I thought was interesting. So the Russian disinformation campaign is number one. Another one is saying that Chinese social media manipulators are sending out a Chinese social media manipulation about the microwave satellite, the microwaves coming from satellites. So if you've been following the stories about microwave satellites burning Lahaina, it's probably started with Chinese social media agitators, or perhaps Russian social media agitators. Hope you're not disappointed, but the story has been found about the mysterious cause of the satellites. So why don't we do this, gang? Let's get into our market update. Ashliey, why don't we go to Ashliey first, and then we'll end up with Dylan on this. Again, gang, if you have any questions, just pop them in. So Ashliey, why don't you give us the update? You saw that quick story that mentioned that Oahu remains flat for August. What are you seeing what are you seeing happening in the market? What do you want to share about Oahu, and anything else on what you want to share about Oahu news?
I would agree with that. Honestly, it's pretty uneventful. I know that the rates, like any time, whenever they have a spike, everyone just sort of holds tight. We're getting into the holiday season. September is probably our last, month before we get into our quote holiday market, and it gets into our more rainy season. So we'll see a slowdown. Days on market went up a little bit. Prices actually went up a little bit, but not any significant portion. I think last week we went over how many new listings there were. And since last week, let's see, for single family and condo homes, we have, for fee simple, because there's leasehold as well, 184 new listings in 1 week. So, and for how many solds that we've had in 1 week, it's been, let's see here, 151. So we have more new listings than we do solds. That means that we're going to probably see a slowdown here as expected.
Yeah, this is but it's nothing earth shattering, right? I mean, it's just this general kind of slowdown, right?
It's normal. I mean, this is a normal. I mean, mainland markets get affected a lot more in their holiday season because they have drastic weather shifts. So, I mean, honestly, it's still a better market than when I got into real estate in 2010. So, I think we haven't seen anybody slow down, like I said, and we've kind of reported on this, throughout the months, that people are just being more picky. They're being more choosy. They're just not quick to pull the trigger. They're waiting to see what happens with the property. They're letting it sit. They're just making calm, methodical offers. They're asking for seller credits. We're just seeing more creative loan options, and realtors actually, collaborating with their lenders and trying to figure out what's the best deal for their clients. So right now, it's the same win-win market that we've been seeing. Buyers are getting, decent deals. They're not able to gouge sellers and get significantly below ask price. We're still seeing, roughly 98 to 100% of list price on their sales. So it's just sellers being really realistic with their property values. So I think it's not going to be a significant 10, 20% value shift in our holiday market. I don't think, even in the last recession, we didn't see that even in our most drastic markets here in Oahu. So for people who are trying to hold out, it's not enough to make a significant difference. It's not even enough to make a quarter of an interest rate point on your monthly payment. Honestly, you just negotiate and ask for the lower price that you want, and you can probably get it right now in this market. So I think that it's a nice stable market for both buyer and sellers at the moment. But if you are thinking of selling, it doesn't hurt because there's less inventory.
Interesting. So in other words, in short, we're returning to kind of like a typical market forces, whether it's slow or hot. It's a typical market force that requires, smart selling, smart pricing, smart buying. It's not just the way, back in the crazy days of the early COVID mess, is what I'm kind of hearing.
A couple of months on market, you can expect that. You're not. If you see something on market for 60 days or 90 days, you're not, I'm going to be able to get this for a steal, and I'm going to be able to get $50,000 off or anything like that. That's kind of becoming more normal now for properties that are not in certain price brackets. So you do have your lower price properties; those will still go really fast, depending on the neighborhood. If you have certain things that people need, like if it checks all the boxes, like large lanai outdoor space, a fenced-in yard, a view, and it checks everyone's boxes, those are still going to go fast. If it doesn't check everyone's boxes with a massive fire pool, then it's going to sit on market for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a couple of comments I wanted to catch up on over here. One from Marcia. Marcia, welcome back. Aloha, good to see you, Marcia. Thank you for joining us again. Alex Martin's got a question. Nice profile pic there, Alex. It looks like you're on some kind of Hawaiian beach there. If I go to Maui in October, can I get a cheaper hotel? I'd like to in support. I just don't have a lot to spend on hotels. Alex, check it out. A lot of the headlines I'm seeing, the hotels are discounting because the market is really cratering right now on Maui. I don't know, and we don't know how long that's going to last. There's no way we can't predict that future, but check it out. You should be able to find some good.
There's a lot of specials right now is the time to book, because once people start booking, those prices will go back up. So you want to do it early.
Thank you, Dylan. Yeah, that's a great point. So, Dylan, what's the Big Island market update? What's it looking like out there? What do you want to share about what's happening and the volcano? Fill us in, Dylan.
Yeah, well, maybe we got to do an update with my mom and my stepdad on the volcano, because they were there the other night. There's a lot going on. There's like several different kind of fountains and fissures that are erupting inside of the crater. It's all contained inside of the Haleiwa crater, or Haleiwa crater. So there isn't like any flow going towards any communities or anything like that. If you haven't been to Volcanoes National Park, it's kind of mind blowing, because it's like this crater that's 2 miles wide. It's this humongous crater, and there's a little spot at the bottom of it where there's volcanic activity. So it's super cool. You can get literally like a mile away from it and see it just bubbling up and fountaining. So we're actually probably Tuesday night, we're going to go over and look at it. We'll be trying to make time. It's a little trek for us to get over there, but just had one of my agents come back from it last night, and she just said it was it's a spiritual experience to see the lava that close and just the power, the raw nature of it. So it's something that never gets old. I've seen it several times, but it never gets old. You're muted.
Thank you, Dylan. I was going to ask you, so you can, it all depends on the park, but right now with the park, you can drive up to the caldera the way you normally could, like where the volcano house or the volcano observatory area was. Okay, cool. And you could overlook.
And that's a unique activity, because the main crater Pu'o, that one that's been flowing for years, that's the one that flew to Kalapana and flows towards the ocean normally. That one you can't really get to. That one's very remote, and you can't get close to it. So the one that happens inside of the crater right there, you can literally drive up to it and walk 100 feet to the edge of the crater, and there's a viewing area where you can look right into the crater and see it. So it's a super cool, very unique experience.
Very cool. I got to say, there was one time we went there years ago. Here's a going, everybody. So school field trips, right? I don't know about you guys, but like when I was in grammar school, third grade, we went to, our big field trip was, we went to the Lay's potato chip factory to see how potato chips were made. That was the field trip, and everybody was all excited about how potato chips were made, and we saw potato chips being made. But so fast forward, a bunch of years and generations, my daughter's my daughter's elementary school field trip, where did we go? The Big Island, and stay overnight at the Kilauea volcano.
That's a tradition. Is a fourth grade. Yeah, in fourth grade, you go to KMC and you stay overnight at the volcano. Yeah.
Fourth grade, we stayed at the volcano. It's like, my God. And so we're all over there, and it happened to be on the caldera was mildly erupting, and we all went out there in the middle of the night, and that was like the coolest thing, because the place was totally dark, and this red glow, the entire place was glowing red with the clouds overhead being lit up. It was. Yeah, so let's see. Lay's Potato Chip Factory, Kilauea Volcano. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure which one.
The flip side, though, right? The flip side of that is like almost instantly the switch flipped, and in Kona, the Vog is back. It's thick. You can see it. The sunsets are not the same anymore. So there's two sides of that. You got to enjoy the volcano, but then we've had months and months and months of beautiful, clear weather in Kona, and that has instantly disappeared once the volcano started back up again.
Overnight, so, right? Overnight, yeah.
So get ready.
So what's the market like? Ashliey, you've got a question you wanted to ask.
We had just childhood field trips, like where you guys. That is so cool. I can't wait now. I have a kid. I vicariously live through her here in Hawaii. Like the things that they do are so fun. I'm thinking like, what did I do? I'm from New Hampshire, Massachusetts area. There's a lot of old history there, but you're going to like the Bartlett Museum or like the Boxford Historic Society, and all it is like these famous old poets or generals, and they have these tiny little houses that are just all original wood, and you walk around in their old house, and that's it. That's the field trip.
Hey, at least you had some history. I had the Lay's potato chip factory. That's what I had. That's what I had.
True.
I'll never forget it. For some reason, I don't know why that sticks out in my head. But funny.
We also had the
Dylan,
Boston Tea Party, so we did get to explore that.
I mean, that's at least historic, right? I mean, you got some history there. Like something really important happened here, as opposed to here's how potato chips are made, and you too will be a factory worker here one day if you aspire to, right? This is where you're, in urban Chicago, where I was born. Dylan, give us the update of what's going on. Oh, first, I want to give a quick shout out to Alex, who yes admitted that picture was on Waimanalo Beach. Yeah, see, I called it. So Dylan, what's the big on market like?
The big island market is stable. We had the big news was so in July we had this huge drop off. So we saw this trend over the last kind of 12 months of sales increasing, the number of sales increasing. Median prices have always been stable. They've actually been rising, but number of sales is an interesting number to track. And we bottomed out at 300 or 288 back in January of this year. So that was like a super low number of sales, 288 for the whole entire island. And that number kind of trekked up. And then in June, we hit 500. So it almost like doubled right between January and June. And then all of a sudden in July, it dropped off to 361. So there was like 140 less sales just month over month between June and then July. So I was wondering if something was going on or if that was going to be a trend or could have just been a one-off. But then in August, it jumped back up to 420. So which is the highest. It's only been 3 months higher than that in the last 12 months. So kind of weird with things are kind of there was a nice little trend happening and then a big drop off and then it's back. But overall median prices are stable. And the biggest factor with all of this, and I should have sent you the slide, maybe we'll cover it next show, is Paul Brubaker did a presentation for us. I just published a video on YouTube with all the details, but very interesting. He always has like these really interesting data points, right? And he has the number of building permits for new homes pulled over back until 1960, and he plotted it on a graph. And you can actually overlay that with the economic trends at the time, right? So like during the Japanese bubble in the 90s, big spike in the number of building permits, and then the huge drop off after that bubble burst. And then in the early 2000s, in that run up, big spike in the number of building permits, and then the big drop off during the Great Recession. And then you saw after in the 2010s, it kind of started rising back up. And then last year started falling off again. But the concerning thing about that trend is the last two big peaks, the Japanese bubble and the subprime bubble, the peaks were like twice as high as our last run up, right? So although we kind of saw that same cyclical trend happen, we never hit the same peaks. And that's what we're dealing with on all the islands is we are just, and we've talked about this so many times in the past, we are not building enough new inventory to meet the demand that's out there. And that's what's continuing to constrain the market. And on the Big Island in particular, normal inventory pre-pandemic was 35 to 4,000 properties on the market at any given time. We are below 1,800 right now. We haven't, it kind of creeped back up to 2,000 and then went right back down. It's been below 1,800. It's like 1,750 right now. So like 50% the normal inventory that we normally have, and we are not replacing or building new homes and creating more inventory. And so that's going to continue to keep prices stable and continue to drive the market forward as long as we have that constrained inventory. So that building permit number was super interesting, but I'll send that slide to you, Peter, and you can take a look at it, but maybe we can share it on the next show.
Paul Brubaker, I consider Paul Brubaker a good friend of mine. We went out with a couple of him and a couple of friends, maybe about a month or two ago. Had a couple of drinks. I love talking to him. He's number one. He's such a brilliant. I had him on the show. We talked about the financial during that scare when the Silicon Valley Bank went belly up. I brought him on, and he's just great. He's got a very, he's a local boy kind of thing. He's super smart. He's very funny, very entertaining. I really like a great big shout out to Paul Brubaker. Hey, folks, look, if you have any questions before we start to move on, anything about that you'd like to know about what's going on in real estate in the market in Hawaii, make sure you let us know.
And then I was gonna comment on the Maui market too. So I was just looking at the Maui market this morning, just for an update. There is, we're not going to see, because of the lag in the real estate sales data, right? I mean, really what closes today went under contract 45 to 60 days ago, right? So when we're looking at kind of last month's sales data, it's kind of hard to tell trends, and the effects of the fires really aren't gonna show themselves to probably October, November kind of time frame. But the interesting thing last month is there was actually a big jump in sales last month versus the month prior. So there was actually more activity. And what that tells me is that there wasn't, there wasn't a bunch of people canceling escrows or doing anything like that, right? I mean, the people that were in the market purchasing were continuing to do that. There was a drop in inventory, and there was a lot of inventory in Lahaina that is no longer there, or people removed their properties from the market based on what's going on. So it's interesting. We're not going to be able to, I don't think we'll know the full effect of what's going on there for another 30, 60 days or so. But activity there is still strong too.
I mean, that's what I'm curious of what you folks think about that. I mean, I think, one of the big questions I kind of wanted to talk about today is, what does it, to the best that we know, unfortunately, Heidi's not here with us, but it's a good conversation of what does the recovery look like? And on that note, when you talk about, when you think about the inventory loss, right? I think 2,000 homes. There's approximately 2,000 homes, and that's 7,000 people, something like that, being housed. Is literally taken out of the market. You're pulling that out of the inventory. I can't see that. I can't see how that won't be a massive shock to Maui's real estate market, and the rest of the market. I mean, in so many different ways. Have you folks, is there anything kind of that's bubbling in the grapevine, or anything that you've heard, or any kind of sense that you've got? Did Brubaker talk about that at all? Any kind of feedback on that?
No, it's too early, especially when his thing was 3 weeks ago, so it wasn't too long after. But the one factor to think about that is when you look at our islands from the outside, they seem kind of small and contiguous, right? Like island per island. But the reality is there's tons of submarkets on each island. Some of those submarkets are insulated from other markets. And that's definitely the case with Lahaina, where anybody who's been there, I mean, it's a very separated part of the island. And if you live or if you work on any other part of the island, it's unlikely you're going to live in Lahaina, because it's just a far drive to get there. And there's only one road in and out. It's two lanes. The traffic can get bad. So you really have to make a conscious decision if you want to live in Lahaina and then work in Kahului or Wailuku or somewhere else, because it's inconvenient, right? I mean, it's like Oahu. Like if you live in Waianae, you're not going to work in Hawaii Kai, right? If you look at it from a map, it looks like you're just one island, not that far away and stuff. But the reality of that is it's not a desirable kind of lifestyle. And so, yes, there is a huge amount of inventory removed from one area, but what we're seeing is a lot of people want to stay there. That's going to be the problem. Is rebuilding is going to take a very long time. Replacement of all the homes that were lost is going to take a very long time. And whether those folks settle in somewhere else on the island, that's something we're seeing too, is that's going to further constrain inventory, because people are going to be buying whatever's available on the other parts of the island, because there's just so little available already. And but overall, that's one thing to kind of consider, is it is somewhat of a an isolated market on the island because of the geographic nature of it.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say 2,000 homes it sounds like a lot. It is a lot, but it is a very niche sort of market there. And there wasn't those 2,000 homes that were coming up for sale very often. And it wasn't like there was a high turnover in that area, So in retrospect, I think of anything that's going to drive the market, because you have a lot of people now, 2,000 homes worth of residents that have to go now rehome themselves. So if anything, that might just increase the activity of the market over there. Whether it's people who are going to be acquiring more properties to rent them out or whatever that might look like. It's just like a redistribution of residents going to new locations on the island in an area that didn't have high turnover to begin with. So what would have been a handful of homes that were going to be coming on the market in the coming years, now there's going to be all these residents looking to rent or buy.
Well, yeah, I'm just kind of, at the end of the day, it's supply and demand. You guys are, both of you are absolutely correct. Dylan, when you talked about Lahaina, maybe the closest equivalent here on Oahu might be like Haleiwa. So Haleiwa is on the other side of the island. There's sort of pretty much only, we do have two ways to get there. But it's like, it's very remote. It's, if you live in Haleiwa, you're not going to relocate or want to relocate to town. Actually, you used to live in Haleiwa a long time ago, if I'm not mistaken.
I did.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So, so there's, what's that?
Us weird people. Dylan's like, not undesirable. No one's going to live out there. I'm like, how do I get back?
Hey man, quick aside, I had a really good friend of mine who asked me to house sit his house in Laniakea, and was right on the beach. And it was like, I spent a week there. I had to commute for a week, which was brutal. But I meditated on the hour-and-a-half drive back and forth. It was just like an hour-and-a-half meditation while I was driving. But living in Laniakea was like really amazing. It's an incredible place. So I get the vibe, man. I get the vibe. I had a North Shore buddies when I first got here. Anyway, I digress. Look, it's a remote market, certainly, but at the end of the day, supply and demand. You've just pulled 2,000 units off of the supply, period. Now, those people they got to relocate, they got to live somewhere if they want to live in Lahaina, et cetera, et cetera. But there's 2,000 homes that are gone. And Maui's market, like every other market, was super tight to begin with. So by definition, we've just pulled a massive amount of supply off the market. Now, there will be there are a lot of people who have said, you know what, I'm going to go back to the mainland where I was from, because this is I'll when things come back, I'll come back, and until then I'm going to go back and live with my family. So there's a lot of those who have left the market as well. So some of that demand has gone away, but you still have a massive loss of supply. And obviously we haven't even begun to see the repercussions of that. We're still in shock. We're all still in shock, right? Everyone's still trying to figure out what they're going to do, but this is going to be a big deal. I mean, look, I don't see, like you said, Dylan, Lahaina itself is not going to be ready for rebuilt. I don't see it being rebuilt 5 years. Easy. It won't be in 5 years, probably 10 years. At the last show, Heidi brought up a point about the fact that a lot of the, what are they going to do about the homes that were non-compliant homes because the zoning laws changed after they were built. Homes that are right on the water, that now you cannot rebuild that home legally on the water. What about that? What about the narrow streets in Maui? Are they going to rebuild those narrow streets again? No, they're going to build wide streets. Well, whose land is going to be by eminent domain pulled? All those issues, not to mention, Ashliey, you brought this up many, many times, the whole toxic cleanup thing that's going to go on, and the other part that I'm kind of seeing too is like, wait a minute, this place right now is a graveyard. It's a graveyard. There's like all kinds of, how is that going to get reconciled, and how is that going to get healed, and how's that going to be, renewed, and all those kinds of issues. So you're looking at a very, very long-term time. How are you going to get workers into West Maui? Because all those workers, and not all, but a huge part of those workers in West Maui, Anapali, etc., were living in Lahaina. Where are they going to stay now? So it's going to be a big.
It's complicated. It's way more complicated.
It's complicated.
We don't even know half the issues yet that are going to arise.
Thank you for bringing that. Yeah, yes, we haven't touched that. One thing I was asking you guys, and maybe any of you, I'd love to know, if you're watching right now, I'd love to hear if you've, if what you've got. I'm going to give you a question. If you guys have an answer, I'd love to hear it. So have you folks seen any one person or several, if not people, emerge as inspirational, forward-looking leaders from this thing? In other words, who would you say out there is sort of epitomizing and either a lightning rod or whatnot to kind of put some positive, forward-looking, inspirational vision. This sort of can do, will do it kind of positive. Has anyone evolved? I've here. Bill's giving hands. So I'm going to zoom in on. So Ashliey, have you or Dylan, have you guys seen anyone who's kind of emerged as some sort of a positive, forward-looking visionary? Anyone in the audience? Have you guys, anybody on social media that you've seen, TikTok, etc., Instagram, who's come out of this? Crickets.
I think that's the whole point, right? From the very beginning, it was a leadership issue. So you've got a lot of people, for whatever reason, I don't mean any disrespect, but people in Hawaii, especially like local, people that come into a distress situation, they tend to just love to be angry, right? And I hate to say that because it's a really general blanket statement, but there are definitely good leaders. I don't know their names. I don't know them by name, but I have seen them really take on, food distribution and supply distribution. And they're just continuously there to this day. So many people rallied up at the very beginning and they were all gung-ho about helping and on jet skis, getting supplies, and they're in the heat of the moment. But then I think everyone sort of tapers off and goes back to their day-to-day lives because they have to. And there's definitely a few people there that I've seen continuously on certain social media pages that show up, every day and just continue to push forward. And we should look up their names because they aren't big, presence on social media or in politics. They're just your average everyday person who are really, giving up everything that they have going on for it.
Look, the volunteering and the heartfelt and the ohana feelings and all that stuff is off the charts. That is off the charts. And I'm not. I mean, there was one of my colleagues went to Maui because they have a business there, and he was telling me it was just amazing, the outpouring. You'd be driving down and there's people saying, "Hey, I'm making tacos. Whoever wants tacos, come here to my home. I'm making tacos right now." Just anything that people could do. That outpouring is amazing. I guess what I'm looking for is sort of like, for example, during 9/11, right? And I compare this to a 9/11 event. 9/11, Rudy Giuliani, boom, he emerged. He was the man. He led New York forward. He was this sort of lightning rod for the recovery, the New Yorker can-do attitude. He epitomized kind of the whole rebuilding and gave a strong sense of hope. When at the time, President George Bush's famous speech, when he got up on the top of the rubble and he gave this great inspirational speech throughout the first pitch at the baseball game, etc., did all these things that were, very inspirational leadership, strong leadership. That's not, Dylan, you've got more of a political sense than I do. Not that the mayor should have done it. I'm not kind of, whoever, all I'm saying is that no one has come forward. No, that I've seen. Dylan, am I right or wrong?
Yeah, and that's just the response approach, right? There's been, of course, you're going to have finger pointing and name calling and, all the accusational stuff whenever anything like this happens. But as a leader, you can decide to respond to that in two ways, right? You can respond to it directly and get drug into the mud and finger point and blame and do those things, or you can just rise above it and be inspirational, be forward thinking, be a visionary. And you're absolutely correct. I mean, there really hasn't been anyone that has kind of stepped up into that role. I mean, the only person I could kind of say that, has been messaging in that way is Tulsi Gabbard, who's really not in the government. I mean, she's a former elected official, but that's kind of, and she's always been that way, though. That's kind of been her the way she messages. But yeah, if you look at all of the local politicians and, there's nobody kind of look to it and be like, yeah, I want to follow that guy into the future, right? I mean, but that's a lot of the case in Hawaii government anyway. So.
I mean, look, it's definitely, there's no question, local culture, how many different figures of speech can we pull out here in the next 5 minutes, Dylan? The nail that sticks out gets hammered. That's one, right? It's a classic local slang. The nail that sticks out, the nail that gets out gets hammered. We got crabs in bucket syndrome, right? The amama crab, the idea is, one crab tries to get out of the bucket, but the other crab's kind of pull the crab back down. That's another classic local image. We got all kinds of those things, right? But but yet you would think that. So I'm just kind of in shock by that. I'm like, am I missing something? I've not seen someone come forward. Now Mark Lowell, thanks, Mark. Mark says, the surfer community seems to be working hard for the locals. Mark, absolutely. Look, like
the local community leaders are amazing. Like Ashliey said, I mean, there's
amazing.
so many things that they're not on the news, they're not big on social media, but they're making
Incredible.
stuff happen. They're taking care of people. That there's no doubt. There's a ton of that going on. Absolutely.
Ton of that going on. And that is the coolest thing, period. End of story. It's the Aloha spirit. It's the local can-do attitude. It's people helping people. And that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Maybe that's what it is, right? That's
Peter, maybe this is your calling. Dylan, Peter, let's go.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. I would, but I don't feel here's why it's not me. Because I don't live on Maui. I'd be just like the stupid loudmouth Haleiwa guy who's coming from Oahu trying to kind of, do something. What the hell do I know about Maui? I'm not the right guy. I would be an insult. Now, could I facilitate it? Would I like to get a show if on where we have a couple of these folks from social, whoever they are that are trying to get them on a show and have them talk about it? I'd love to. I'd love to facilitate it. I'd love to facilitate, but it ain't me. Can't be. It better not be. Can't be. Stupid Holly talking about Maui. What the hell, right? That's not going to work. All right.
At a minimum, what I would have appreciated from a leadership standpoint is somebody just dispelling all of the stupid conspiracies that are out there, right? I mean, that's one thing that doesn't help is like I've had several conversations over the last couple of weeks with people that, either friends from the mainland or even local friends here that are like, hey, you hear about this, you hear about that. And then once you walk the dog like 2 steps and be like, explain to them how it doesn't make any sense. They're like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, so it goes back to like somebody has to be the voice of reason in this and be a positive voice of how we're moving forward versus like the laser beams from China or whatever. I mean, there's been so much crazy stuff out there and there's nobody standing up and saying, hey, you got to stop this, you guys. It's not helpful, getting caught up in this. I mean, I love to watch flat earth videos on YouTube as much as anybody else does. And they're very convincing, right? If you watch 3 or 4 flat earth videos, you're going to start questioning stuff, right? But you cannot get caught up in that negativity loop of the craziness because, if you go, I mean, it's all over the place. If you go down the TikTok rabbit hole, I mean, it's crazy the stuff that'll come up and there's nobody standing up and saying, hey, we got to stop on this and focus on the actual productive activities of rebuilding and moving forward. And, not the bodies washing up on in Lanai. I mean, there's been all kinds of crazy stuff that we've heard that just has zero validity to it.
Yeah, it's really remarkable. Mark, politicians just make things worse. I would trust the surface more. Mike, me too. And I'm not asking for a politician to come forward, frankly. I'm just kind of saying anyone is showing themselves to be a person that is typifying what's going on. Auntie Joan, real heroes they don't announce it on social media. 1,000% agree. 1,000% agree. And Auntie Joan, there's a million heroes, well, not a million, but there's countless heroes on Maui that are doing heroic stuff. And that is no question about that. But it's just interesting that no one has. Go ahead, Ashliey.
With 9/11, they were able, whether you believe it was truly a terrorist attack or not, they were at least able to hide, or they were at least able to stand behind.
We're getting into some conspiracy theory. Okay, Ashliey, you're revealing it.
Able to come forth and be like, let's stand together against, this terrorist group. So they were really able to sort of pivot and go behind something and make someone or something the bad guy, whether or not you believe that in the moment. Certainly everyone did. And I think with this, it's hard because it's a hot potato and we know what to blame, and yet everyone doesn't know what to blame. And then you're blaming your own community for this disaster. So rallying behind, you're already creating a division of your community, right? Because you have, it's honestly an at-fault community issue. And so now there's a lot of, I think, finger pointing and blame, and everyone doesn't want to say anything that's indicting, and you're going to offend some people if you do it. You're not going to have deep pockets backing you up. 9/11 was different because you had an external force that was outside of our country, supposedly, that created this, horrible event that people could rally behind. So I think there is just a little bit more challenging of a dynamic, for that.
Completely agree. I mean, look, the two are not the same, right? 9/11 they're radically different things. But I was, again, I'm looking at, just someone who can put forth Ashley, even kind of what you're saying, someone who could put forth a vision, someone who could put forth a voice that says, hey, this whatever it is, something that could kind of rally people. I'm just really rather surprised that no one has come forward. I was hoping it was going to be Jason Momoa, but he blew that one, man. He blew that one big time. He had the chance. He could have been the guy, but he toilet bowled Maui, unfortunately. But
Wait,
what
did he do?
He came on and he was the first one. I don't know about the first, but he was one of the first big people who said, "Don't come to Maui," and everybody listened to him. Not a good message. Not a good message. Not the one I would have chosen, because he's not going to pay for the recovery. Anyway, Oprah and The Rock. I mean, it's nice what they're doing. And I didn't expect them to come out as voices. They better not. It needs to be somebody who, obviously, someone who lives in Maui. It's just weird. It's just strange that no one's come forward. And maybe it's a reflection of our local culture where no one wants to kind of step forward. That no one wants to be the nail that sticks out, that gets hammered. I'll have to catch up on some Tulsi Gabbard. For some reason, she is no longer appearing on my YouTube feed. Probably the YouTube algorithms are like,
they're definitely shadow banning. They're definitely shadow banning her.
Perhaps she could be shadow. Could very well be. Could very well be. It would not be surprising at all. Be surprised at all if she's getting shadow banned. Anyway, Jennifer Mars agrees. Hopefully, you're agreeing with the general idea, Jennifer, that no one has come forward. 9-1 Juan says Maui rebuild will be a big undertaking considering everything will be shipped from the mainland. That's just one of the challenges. Juan, that's the easiest of the challenge. We could always get shipping capacity that's not going to be a problem. It's a challenge, but we've been shipping stuff here forever. It's the million other things that have got to happen. Visit Maui, but respect Lahaina. Yes, of course. Look, I don't see how anyone's going to want to come anywhere near Lahaina, except for, of course, the folks that live there from a memorial standpoint. But you're not going to. Who on earth in their right mind is going to want to go on a vacation where let's enjoy the beauty, let's enjoy the beach, let's have a good time, I want to have fun, is going to want to drive through a horrific site with countless deaths and destruction all around. And
so
what are you going to do? Right?
So many people want to see that, though. So many people want to go there and they want to take
video.
But
that's freaky. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
You love disaster. Like you'll watch a car crash.
Correct. You're right. You are right. I completely agree. There is that. I want to watch the fire truck kind of thing. But on a vacation thing, are you gonna want to go on a vacation to a place and really put yourself in like a great time and have a wonderful experience, and enjoy the beach, have a good time with your family, and know that just like right down on the other side is like death and destruction? Are you gonna? I don't even. Right?
I hope not. Yeah.
But you'd think not, but a lot of people I think that's where the insensitivity comes from, right? Because they're going to go to the beach and enjoy themselves, and they're like, hey, let's go check out that tragic site. And, then they have their photo of it, and 10 years down the line, they can be like, I saw that, I was there. And so I think that's why there's all these voices on social media saying don't come, because they know people aren't going to respect that boundary, because unfortunately people will want to take pictures of that, even if it's supposed to be, because it's just going to be, it's just an hour out of the way, or they're just going to take their half day to go check it out. Like, how many people smile next to 9/11 and take couples photos in front of 9/11 site smiling, or like.
Yeah. It becomes a tourist attraction. Kanaya, not me, right? Kanaya, I wouldn't want to go do. I'm with you. I mean, I would want to do that. And Jennifer agrees with you, Ashliey. Yeah, exactly. It's, a social media presence. That's what the world revolves around. Well, hopefully it doesn't revolve too much around that, Jennifer. There are several islands support Hawaii in general by supporting tourism. Yes, of course, we definitely. And look, Sandra. People naturally come to Hawaii anyway. And I think what's going to be interesting is going to be, again, this whole thing. Where is this all going to go? How are people, where are they going? Clearly, tourism is going to continue. Clearly, people who want to take a vacation to Hawaii are going to take a vacation. They just won't go to Maui. Now, many will, but they just won't go to Maui, which means they're going to go to Kona. They're going to go to Kauai. They're going to go to Oahu. So many things are gonna follow around over here. Marcia said, yes, actually, I witnessed that in New York City. So, back then in 9/11, it was before the age of the selfies, but it's not hard to imagine people wanting to go there and take selfies. Yeah, here's me in front of the wreckage. That would be. I'm a New Yorker, and that really angered me. So yeah, Marcia, that's exactly it. And thank you, Jennifer. We love we all of. I mean, look, we love the Big Island. We love all of Hawaii. Just going to be interesting to kind of see where this all going to go. It's going to be an interesting road, and I don't think we've even begun to think about what it's going to be. You know what I mean? I don't. It's so much in the early phase of where this whole piece is at. We haven't even begun, and I'm just, again, a bunch of things. I'm really rather shocked that there's been no leadership. All right,
moving on.
Hey, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Let's move on. Hey, let's look at some. Let's move up over here, because life is going on. We do have to move forward with what we're going to be looking at. And so let's pull up some properties over here and see what we've got to look at. So Diamonds and Deals, folks, is all about kind of showing some properties that Ashliey and Dylan want to feature. Like to know what you folks want to think about. First, let's do this really quick. I want to catch up. There's some good comments coming in. Jennifer, need to visit Pearl Harbor still. Would love to. Island hop. Yeah, do it. Here's a great example. Thank you. Pearl Harbor. A lot of deaths on Pearl Harbor. But it's already been, it's become a memorial now. It has this, it's been blessed. The things have occurred that need to occur, so you can still go there. It is a graveyard. You are walking to a graveyard, but it's a solemn event, and it's a huge tourist attraction. But it lacks the sensationality and the potential disrespect, which takes me to another point about this. Sorry to get this back on. Sorry, Dylan. We want to move on, but there needs to be sort of a religious blessing of the land. There needs to be a collection of all the kahus and the priests and whatever, all the religions in that land needs to be blessed. Anyway, too much. I will go to Maui to help tourism ministry and stay in the Kihei area on the east side, support the people, yet be decent about it. Yeah, Dean. I mean, that's the needle that we all need to thread. Right? That's the needle that we all need to thread. I suppose if you went to Maui, if the slogan was, instead of like, don't visit Maui or visit East Maui, like, hey, visit Hana, take a vacation to Hana, take a vacation to Wailuku, take a vacation there specifically, and then don't go to the other side. That would be good. Missed the beginning. Everything. Thanks, Dean, for asking. Yeah, Heidi's fine. She's just taking a break. She's visiting friends and family. Wasn't able to make the show, but we love Heidi and we miss her. Thanks, Jennifer. All right, let's move on. It is time to move on. Next slide, please. Let's move on over here. So, Ashliey, we've got I don't think it's gonna. I can't help it. Okay, so Ashliey, you've got a cool looking property here with marble interiors. What do you got over here, Ashliey, in Kaneohe?
I made sure that the text on this was in the way in the boundaries, and I even compared.
I'll give you afterwards. We'll do a tutorial on slide.
No,
no worries.
I moved it so far over.
No worries. Go for it. What do we got? It's okay. It's still good enough. What is it? What do we have here, Ashliey?
This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom. It's missing some really key information on this. So it's listed at 1.45. And for this neighborhood, there's not a lot of inventory. It's
let me do this. Here, I'll do this. Hold on a second. Well, maybe we'll do it this way. So
see how far over that is? And look at the one above
so it doesn't. Yeah, long story. It's all geeky, but don't worry about it. So go ahead, Ashliey. Give us the deal. Sorry about that.
No, here. I'm going to move it over while at live.
No, don't do live editing. Don't do live editing. Just talk.
Okay. So it is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 1.45, and the seller is offering a $30,000 or $20,000 credit to help buy down the interest rate. What's really unique and awesome about this property is that it has a legal ADU. So that's an accessory dwelling unit. An accessory dwelling unit, it means it has its own address, it has a dedicated parking stall, it has its own mailbox. So it's great for multi-generational living, for rent. I mean, you're not technically supposed to rent out an ADU, but everyone does. It has its own full kitchen on the other side of this house. So this back door over by the second set of washers and dryers in the back of the property there, that's one of 2 doors into that back ADU. And then the Ko'olau Mountains, you can see from that photo, just a glimpse. It goes all across. It is the most beautiful landscape when you're inside the home, looking out from your kitchen and the living room. When you just go onto any of the major freeways, the Pali, the Likelike, and H3, it's all right there around the community of this house. It's by the botanical garden, but it's right outside, like 3 minutes from downtown Kaneohe. So great location. And we just did this price reduction. So she's going to go.
I got to tell you, that is a gem of a property for a variety of reasons. I love the interior, but this legal ADU, what's ADU stands for? Accessory dwelling unit? Is that what it stands for?
Yeah, sorry, accessory dwelling unit. So kind of like an ohana unit, it's attached.
Or an in-law, as we would say, an in-law unit for mainland folks who don't, yeah.
Right, but there's a lot of house hacking in Hawaii where you add these unpermitted. So this is all permitted. So it's not like, oh, somebody just took a section of the home and added, a countertop and a fridge and you put a hot plate and call that a rental. It's a legal accessory dwelling unit that's permitted.
Legal, yes. Yeah, that's a big differentiator. Excellent. Well done. Thanks. Actually, that is a good and 4-bedroom, 3-bath, great location. All right. Let's see. What do we got next here? Dylan, what are we looking at? Wow, that's a cool looking house. Yeah. But you're
there we go. That's why I picked this one. It's like it popped out of me. It just came on the market in Kilauea Estates in Kona. 2.8, pretty much what stuff goes for in there. It's nice. This is a new built completed 2023. So if you want brand new construction, but the crazy thing, and the reason I picked these 3 pictures, and great exterior pictures and stuff too. There's a pool right in front. It's beautiful. But if you look at this, like kitchen, living room, bedroom, like you have this crazy ocean view from every single main room in the house. And that's just one of the cool things about Kona is when you get up on the hill, this is probably like 500 or 600 feet of elevation. You're looking just at this killer view. There is homes in front, but they're down below, so they're not in your view at all. And just a killer property. And if you want real new, modern, clean construction in a nice gated community right in the Keauhou area, it's a nice shopping center, very close by, movie theater, grocery store, everything that you need. Just a killer property. So, and if you like the ocean, and if you like an ocean view, so.
Man, I mean,
who doesn't? Who doesn't like an ocean view?
I mean, that is the most insane. I mean, that is such a well done photo.
It looks fake, right? It looks fake, right? Like,
fake. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Is that like a big screen TV that we're looking at over there, or they must have photoshopped like a killer sunset behind this photo? Yeah, it's really incredible. And and Dylan, I have to say, now we've been doing this show I think for like 3 years now, or three years plus, or whatever. It's been a bunch of years.
We started in 2020. This is a COVID baby, is what this show was. Right?
It was a COVID baby
because we had nothing better to do. Like in May and June of COVID is when we started this thing. So
that's right. It's a COVID baby. It is a COVID baby. All right. So we're going. 3.5 years, right? In these 3.5 years, and we've done a show every other week. So there's 70 shows in the can. So I don't think I've ever seen a diamonds and deals section where your property was like way the hell more expensive than everybody else's. It's always Big Island's always the cheapest. Big Island's always the lowest cost, always. And you bring up these fancy ones, but you all get blown away by either the Maui folks or whatever.
This house on Oahu would be $5 million. I mean, I just went to one of Ashley's beautiful listings that was like four something and wasn't even anywhere near as nice as this with as much space and stuff. So yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
And the view is impeded.
So yes, by far, value at every level, is definitely always the best on the Big Island for sure.
Oh, for sure. But this is the first time I've ever, you have had a number where you're basically at double. You've never done. I don't recall it. It may have happened, but I don't recall it. So,
but
congratulations.
But the house Ashley showed on the Big Island would be like 600,000, 700,000. So.
Pound for pound, Big Island is like way cheaper. Pound for pound, there's no doubt about it. But this is absolutely stunning. All right, good. Hey, great one, excellent show. So, hey, folks, if you got any questions, make sure we are going to wrap this up over here. I think it's about that time. You got anything?
The last thing I wanted to add on. Ashley mentioned the seller credit, right? And we haven't really dug into that, but I always learn something in this business, and I'm not a lender, so I don't dig deep into that stuff. But I learned this week that if you get a seller credit, right, for like a 3-to-1 buy down, where you buy the interest rate down 3 points in the first year, 2 points in the second year, and 1 point in the third year, it greatly reduces your payment. Could be, in that around $1 million price point, could be $1,000 a month less in a payment your first year if you do this buy down. But if you don't use it all, right, if in a year and a half the interest rates go down and you refinance and you don't use that credit, you can actually apply the value of that credit, whatever you have left, to your principal or towards your closing costs. So it's a really good mechanism tool to use now to pay less in your monthly payment, and you can still realize that value if a year and a half from now you end up refinancing. So just something to look into. Ask a smart realtor and a smart lender about it. We can help you walk you through that process, because there's a lot of sellers nowadays that are offering that type of credit to combat the high interest rate.
Excellent. Hey, we have an amazing comment, and I really want to share. This is something I've never seen before. So Tammy Aloha Cinema says, need to donate these properties to give unconditionally to island people. I think that is a fantastic idea. Would you please reach out to Dylan and to Ashliey to buy these 2 properties immediately? You should buy these properties next week and then turn around and give these to the island people. Please do that. I think isn't that wonderful? I mean, seriously, I mean, what a wonderfully, incredibly giving, unselfish act. Please buy these properties and then donate them.
Who's O&R? Who's O&R?
I think they mean Oprah and The Rock. That's what I
Oprah. I agree. And you know what, Oprah? Mine has an ADU, so it's perfect for multi-generational family. 2 families.
It's Oprah and The Rock. I thought it was Tammy Aloha Cinema who was going to buy the properties and donate them. That's what I was thinking, that she was going to come forward and buy and then donate.
Dylan's the young, cool, hip one here who could decipher.
Oh yeah. So thank you. Okay. All right.
I was watching the criticism of them. You know, they gave $100,000 or whatever, and you know, to a billionaire, like $100,000 is like 10 cents, right? So
they donated 10 million. They each donated 10 million or 5 million each. And then the whole criticism was that they put in this 10 million and then they were going to the public to donate and to add to the fund. The problem is when you looked into the fund was a Hollywood elitist fund where the CEOs of these funds got paid huge amounts of money. I think like on average, like one guy gets paid $500,000, $250,000. I mean, that's not huge for here in Hawaii or for elitists, but they just get paid a lot. So they're like, well, we are struggling. Everyone can barely afford gas, and we're not going to put into a fund to give him $500,000, whatever trickles to the people. So that's why they got all mad and everything.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Right?
So,
hey, yeah. All I know is this. I just want to see sharks with laser beams attached to their heads. That's all I know. That's all I know. I want to see sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads.
Comes from above.
Alien. So Dean's giving us a thumbs up. You guys are great. See you in 2 weeks. Dean, see you in 2 weeks. And I wish I barely making it with Section 8 myself. Well, that's okay. Then that's all right. Then it was a nice thought. All right. Thanks, gang. Any final comments? Send them in. We're going to wrap this show up here with our closing thoughts. If you got some of yours, we'd like to hear them. This is a fun part of the show. I really enjoy it. Ashliey, you go first. Give us yours and why is it important to you?
You can't cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the water. I mean, I think we all have a vision of what we want and what we want to accomplish. And we're like, even the people who are big visionary people and they just say a lot what they want to do and what they're going to have, but then they don't do anything about it, or they just say the words, you know? And I think even the best of us can get into a rut of doing that. So just a nice reminder that if you want something, you have to go and do it. You can't just talk about it. You can't just stare at it. You have to do the small, tiny little changes and habits in a day and the big actions to make it happen.
Well said. Well said. Mark says that. Go ahead.
I'll add on to that as an illustration, just back to the discussion about changing offices, right? Is this whole discussion started months ago. My lease was coming due, and I started thinking about, it was time to upgrade or get some more space. And I always say the first thing you got to do is actually write it all down, right? Like write what your goals, your plans, your vision is. Write it down so it's not just in your head. And I literally wrote out on my notes on my phone. I have tons and tons of notes on my notes app on my phone, and I wrote out a list of things that if we were to move, the boxes that we got to check to make it make sense to move. And I didn't know what that was going to look like. The energy was in the world. We started kind of looking. And long story short, out of nowhere, this opportunity came up, and it literally checked every single box. So it was like this thing was manifested 6 months ago, but it was because we actually did something about it, right? We wrote it down. We started looking, putting energy to the universe. Didn't have a clear plan. Didn't know how it was going to work out, but it ended up working out exactly the way we wanted it to. That's
the way it works, man. It's all it's in the secret. The Secret.
Yep.
That's the movie that talked about that kind of fun thing. Yeah, excellent. Hey, a couple of comments I wanted to catch up on real quick before we go to Dylan. So Mark says, stick with the servers. Yeah, Mark, I mean, the servers would do their thing. Jennifer, thank you, Jennifer. Kind words, beautiful presentations. Thank you for your knowledge. Yeah, we are here, and we're having a good time with it too. And Joan, here's Auntie Joan. Auntie Joan has got all these great inspirational quotes. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. Indeed, Auntie Joan, and you are the one that has modeled that. Auntie Joan, who moves to Hawaii at the tender age of 79. God bless. We celebrate her 80th birthday here in Hawaii, which was amazing. So she is a model of that, and we love you. She looks terrific. Okay, Dylan, it's yours. What's yours, and how does it speak to you?
You can't give your life more time, so you got to give the time you have left more life. Just a good thing to prioritize, right, is make the most out of every day. You never know how much time we have left. Put as much into it as you possibly can.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Kinaya chimes in. Auntie Joan rocks. Yes, Kinaya, she absolutely does. Absolutely does. Hey, we're actually getting together. We're going to have a Islander Ohana get together. One of our Islander Ohana members is going to have a house party, and we are looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun here on Oahu. Hope Auntie Joan, I'm sure Auntie Joan's going to be there. Kinaya, you will be missed, and hope you'll catch us on the next one. But we're looking forward to that. All right. I'm going to close up with mine. I love Proverbs, as you all know. Better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is perverse in his ways. So it doesn't matter. You could be as wealthy as you want, but if you don't have integrity, you have nothing. Integrity is the key. Is where it's at. And this was written 3,000 years ago. So it is just as relevant today as it was 3,000 years ago. All right, folks.
Amen.
All right, gang. What's that?
Amen.
Amen. Amen to that. Absolutely. Thanks, Ashliey. God bless. All right, great. Let's all say goodbye. So Ashliey first, then Dylan, and I'll say goodbye. Goodbye, folks. It's been great seeing you today.
Have a blessed weekend, everyone. Aloha.
Aloha, everybody. Take care. Aloha.